Hi there. Welcome to Excuse the Beard. My name is Kushan Mitra and thank you for watching this video. I'd really like it if you could subscribe to this channel. If you aren't already subscribed, we are just short of 3,500 subscribers. I'd like to get that, double that off in this year. 90% of the views on most of my videos are from unsubscribed users. And if you do subscribe, be sure to press the bell icon and do watch the videos when they show up on your platform or whatever you do when you subscribe. And in today's video, I want to talk about something very interesting. That is, has the addition of both safety and convenience features in cars made us lazier drivers? Now, my first ever car, which I picked up in 2001, was a Maruti Alto 800 LXI. It was an earlier Alto, which did not have those slimline seats that the cars of today have. It was a relatively nice car, a car I really enjoyed driving almost for 10 years, and I swapped that out with first generation Hyundai i20 Asta. Again, lovely car, early build Asta, one before a lot of the convenience features such as the Bluetooth or the reversing sensors came in. Now, the reason I want to talk about how we have become lazier drivers actually comes in from reversing. Like nowadays, when I reverse, I'm very often reversing looking at my screen because I've got a reversing camera. I'm driving a 2021 Creta right now, the SX model with the 1.5 CRTI engine. Now, I now reverse looking at the screen. I'm not really looking at my mirrors, even though I do look at the mirrors sometimes to the sides and, even this mirror. Now, a complaint some people have against this car, for example, versus, say, the Seltos, is the top-end models of the Seltos come with a 360-degree camera. The Alcazar comes with a 360-degree camera. And I'm saying, not that long ago, you did not even have cameras while reversing. And I'll give you my own example over here. A few years ago, Maruti helped the driving authorities in Delhi, the transport department in Delhi, at the ITDR center in Seksarai, which was one of the four. This is the underpass, sorry about the dark lighting, with one of the training centers where licenses are issued by doing AI managed driving training. Now, one of the driving tests, I went there for the launch along with some other journalists, and one of the driving tests that we had to take was a reverse S. And I found myself in a fairly early Wagon-R without any reversing sensors or reverse camera at all. And I used to be pretty good at reversing because when I had my Alto and my i20, I used to reverse a lot in the lane I was staying then. I used to reverse at times at night when the gates were closed. I had to reverse almost 100 meters at times down a very cramped lane, a one-way lane with just enough space for one car, and you had to be really careful, had your mirrors out, no sensor, nothing. And it's pretty good at reversing, dodging between cars, not taking out anybody's mirrors or anything like that. And there I was doing a reverse S. Fairly easy. I mean, it should not have, but I failed the test initially because I had become so used to driving cars with cameras and sensors. I mean, just so used that I pretty much failed a test I should have been able to easily pass not that many years ago. And it's the same thing. I mean, one of the things I was taught when I was learning how to drive, and I learned how to drive driving my mom's Maruti van and then Maruti 800 DX with had air conditioning, was learning to drive on vehicles without power steering or power windows or many other features, and that we take for granted nowadays. And one of the things I learned while I was learning to drive was not to brake when your steering wheel is turning. That's because if you get differential, the same amount of brake pressure, but because your wheels are at an angle, the inside wheel might lock and you'll spin. But now all cars pretty much come with anti-lock braking systems. All new cars, that is. And the first thing we did, when I started writing about cars and talking cars, we used to go for these driving experiences. One of the driving experiences I did very early on was with Porsche at Ambi Valley. And I drove a 911. And one of the things I had to do in that 911 was to brake while turning, because they want to show off ABS. And keep in mind, back then ABS was a premium feature that manufacturers like Porsche and Mercedes had, but you didn't see it in a Hyundai or a Maruti or a Tata. And it was not natural for me to know when you're braking and braking hard while turning. They gave the example of, imagine those cones being a big container truck. Now, it's obviously it's not easy to imagine traffic cones as being a container truck, but that's the point. Earlier, if you braked and you gave a steering input, your car would almost certainly spin. If you braked even on a straight line and the road was slick, if it had been raining, you could spin out because grip conditions could have been off. But today you don't think twice about braking while turning because your car has ABS. And as the government has mandated more and more technological features in cars, features like traction control, features like electronic stability, it will probably make us even lazier drivers, in my opinion, because I get traction control is great. Traction control is great when you're on, when you take a car like this on rough roads or roads that have not been properly surfaced. There are many patches like that across the country, and you can feel the car giving you that input to either the brake or the accelerator pedal when it's struggling for traction. So it's we have come a long way, and these things are today's drivers at least will learn to drive with these features. Of course, the drivers of tomorrow may not even get to drive internal combustion engine cars. I'm pretty sure by 2025, if we can take care of certain issues, 30% of car sales, not 2025, maybe 2030, 30% of new car sales will be electric. And at the same time, with rising petrol and diesel costs, the amount of people, it makes more and more sense to buy electric, and electric cars will have a lot of these features built into the very drive system itself. You will need ABS, you will need traction control, because electric motors are just so much more torquey. They give you instant power actually. But there are other things, think about it. Right now, you have features like automatic lights on cars, automatic headlights. I've become quite lazy. I mean, I just keep the car on automatic headlights. I know my car will switch on. You have automatic wipers on some cars. You have automatic this, automatic that. And the number of features is just going up and up and up. And I'm all for them. I love having a touch screen over here. I love having smartphone connectivity like this Apple CarPlay, where I can listen to my podcast and voice recognition, so I can talk to Siri or Google if you use Android Auto, or Alexa if you're using Amazon. And many car makers are giving Amazon and Google inbuilt with their cars nowadays, because you don't need that. But I mean, I grew up in a time where I had a audio system that used to chew up my cassette tapes, and being able to untangle magnetic tape with using a pencil or a pen was a fact of life for me growing up, and a fact of life for anybody growing up learning how to drive in the 1990s. Yes, you are a product of your time. Now, keep in mind, I mean, I grew up in a time that synchromesh gearboxes were normal. Now, guys who learned how to drive, like in my father's generation, would need, not sort of or even before that, would have to learn how to clutch and declutch properly, to slot in at the exact power band and all of that. I mean, that's the way things were back then, and driving has only improved. I do not look back to the good old days of driving where people had more skills. Um, Keep in mind, Formula One cars don't have a lot of the features that we take for granted, even on a car like a Hyundai Creta today. Formula One cars cannot have traction control, for example, and yada yada yada. If you are a driver who drives for a living, does motorsports for a living, you know a lot of the features that passenger cars have are not available on your cars, and that's why you respect drivers like Lewis Hamilton or Sebastian Loeb. So that's there. I mean, we also become lazy. How do you explain to kids today that I grew up in a time when you have wind up windows, now everything is a power window, power locks, all of that. I mean, I'm driving a car that has a Bose audio system. As I said, Bose audio system, music on demand, thanks to I have Apple Music on this car, podcasts on demand. Hey, we live in a tremendous time, and I don't want to go back to the good old days. Yeah, for sure. I mean, engines are more economical than ever before. I loved my old 800. I loved it, but it was a little box. I mean, I wouldn't want to get into an accident in a car like that today. So, yeah, we've come a long way, but we still got miles to go. Has it made us lazier drivers? Well, both yes and no. Um, if people still do stupid things on the road, people still drive on the wrong side of the road, people still do very, very stupid things. No matter how many safety features we have today, there's still a lot of idiotic Indians on the road. So yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, do let me know what you think. Have these features made us lazier? Have they made us better or worse drivers? What do you think? What features do you really miss on cars like this today? In fact, one feature I miss on this Creta, because it has an electric front seat, is having seat memory. Because my wife and I both drive this car, so she is much shorter than me. So yeah, these are my thoughts. Do let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and again, as I said at the start of the video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I really appreciate it. It really works well. It really helps me get these out to more people. And if you'd like these to come out more as a podcast format, do let me know about that as well, because I'm sure you'll be love to listen to these while driving. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. And keep watching Excuse the Beard.